Welcome back to the Just Fantasy Baseball podcast. My name is Rami Lavi. That is Vince Damato. And I went to go see the New York Mets play today. Or I went to go see Johnny play today, and I saw how terrible the Mets are. Quick note on that, by the way. Pete Alonso left the game, hit on the hand. So for fantasy purposes, X-rays were negative. We'll see what happens. And then Jorge Lopez, who maybe you're thinking, all right, Diaz goes on the IL. He's out at the closer spot. Ottavino clearly can't be the closer. Jorge Lopez, good pitcher, had good years in Baltimore. Well, no, he had a temper tantrum on the mound, threw his glove, then said this is the worst team he's ever played on in the locker room afterwards, and he's going to be DFA'd now. So kill your stock in Jorge Lopez. Also, that is one of the most odd things that I've ever seen unfold in person, and it only happens to the Mets. How about your Wednesday? How was that for you?
Mine wasn't as exciting. I didn't catch any of the Mets game, but I did see that the Cubs. Imanaga looked human today, so he
Yep,
got
there's
taken down
another
a
headline for
notch.
you.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't think we talked about. I don't know if you talked about Acuna last time, but
I did.
should cover that one a little bit. Yeah, he's out for the season. Lots
The
of
one thing
guys. Sorry, go ahead.
No, the one thing I didn't mention that I wish I did was like look at guys like Kelnick, look at guys like Duval, who Duval in limited at bats was putting up relatively good numbers. So expect those guys to get more at bats. Maybe they can be contributors now. They were probably on waivers on Sunday.
Yeah, and there's a ton of guys who Christian Javier is now out. Kodai Senga looks like he's not going to return for a while. Another New York Met. Um, Although Francisco Alvarez hopefully will be back here soon.
Yep. But
So
no
lots
reason
of
to rush
Mhm.
to rush anyone back if you're the Mets, right?
Yeah, especially not right now. They got some work cut out for them. Who else? You called earlier in the season, and it looks like it may be coming true. Tyler O'Neill is going to potentially be down for a little while with a potential knee injury. Still waiting for some news about that, but called that one, right? I mean, who knew?
Yeah,
Who knew?
and the main thing that I want to get into, so let's do this now.
Yeah.
Pitching is way up and hitting is way down. And so these injuries, a lot of them are hitting injuries. And what I've found, and maybe you can either agree or disagree on this, but what I found is that with pitching, and I have the numbers somewhere, but I can't seem to find them. Um, with pitching being way down, here it is. Offense is way down across the league, 240 batting average, 311 on base, and a 388 slugging. Like, that's ridiculous. A
Yeah.
388 slugging. Like 699 is the average OPS across the league. For example, last year it was 738. Like, that is huge. So
Yeah.
pitching is way up right now, where the league ERA is 3.97, where last year was 4.33. So I realize I'm trying to make trades in my league, and everyone wants hitting and nobody's looking to trade for pitching. Everyone's like, I want hitting. I want hitting. Everyone wants hitting because there is no hitting to go around. And so if you're in a head-to-head league and you realize sometimes it's so random, like I had 12 home runs one week and then 4 the next week, it's so volatile because there's no hitting. And I'm like, well, I'm good on pitching. I have all these pitchers. What is your recommendation for people now? Like, how do you take advantage of this situation? Because everyone wants pitching. I mean, everyone wants hitting. Everyone has a plethora and overload of pitching. Is there any way to take advantage of this?
And it's a good question. It's The quick answer is sell your pitching for less than it's worth, right? Maybe 90 cents on the dollar. Obviously, you better have arms to sell. You want to have arms to sell. The idea being that there's enough guys on waivers for you to pick up and stream and work through in your lineup. Um, but it's tough because again, this is kind of uncharted waters for the last 5 years or so. Hitting has been king for a long time. It's been safe, it's been effective. Building your team around bats has been the way to go. And this year, it just doesn't seem to be the case. Like I have a team that I thought was a juggernaut on offense, and in some crap league, and I'm faced a guy last week who hasn't touched his team since like week 2. Like Matt McClain is still in his lineup, and he had 19 home runs in 1 week. I can't beat that. Like, what do you want from me? So, it's not just that it's down across the board, but it's very specific. Like certain guys, like Kyle Tucker is having a great year. Aaron Judge, like there's some
Yep.
guys who are doing what they do, but the fact that it's across the board, it makes it kind of tough because if you don't have one of those big offensive guys that you've built your team around and they're working out, you're kind of at a loss. And so, yeah, you're trying to trade as many arms as you can for bats. And everyone's doing that, so it's not going to be easy. I wish there was an easier answer or solution. There's some guys that we can talk about real quick too that are hot hitters that might still be available, like David Fry or Kevin Pillar. Both of them have been scorching hot. So um, maybe there's just some guys on offense that will pick it up. Maybe you pick up
My
some
problem is with
prospects.
that, like a guy like Kevin Pillar is still on waivers in most leagues, and he's giving you the same production as maybe like a TJ Friedel or a guy who's also like like it's all the same. Like the guys who are on like the lower end of your roster versus guys who are 50% rostered versus a guy who could
Mhm.
just pick up like it used to be. That's what you could do with pitchers. We do streaming
Yeah.
pitchers. That's a segment we do because that's what people did. Now it's like stream the back half of your offense. You know what I mean? Outside of the top three guys.
Yeah, and that's I haven't adjusted very well or as well as I would have liked because in my mind it's like, okay, offensively it makes sense to start slow. It'll pick back up, and it just hasn't. And so yeah, you're absolutely right. We almost have to adjust because you're absolutely right. I almost have to be filtering the back half of my offense now. They have to be moving. Otherwise, you're just going to lose an offense. Simple as
All
that.
right.